All right, good afternoon, everyone. Oh, little got it button. There we go. This afternoon, obviously, we're continuing our fiscal year 23-24 budget deliberations. As with the last few sessions, we'll begin by going quickly around the table just to introduce everybody who's here. I'm Ted Wheeler, Mayor of the City of Portland.
Commissioner Carmen Rubio.
Commissioner Mingus Maps.
Jeff Selby, he, him pronouns, Interim Director of Office of Equity and Human Rights.
Lisa Pellegrino, she, her pronouns, Director of the Children's Levy.
Welcome.
TJ McHugh, Acting Director of Office of Civic Life.
Adina Long, Director of Portland Parks and Recreation.
Jeff Hawthorne, City Arts Manager.
Tim Grew, Director of the Budget Office. Robert Janey, he, they, and Budget Office.
Dan Ryan, he, they, Commissioner.
Commissioner Renee Gonzalez.
All right, thank you. This year's budget work sessions are organized, of course, by service area, administration, public safety, public works, culture and livability, and community and economic development. Today, we're going to dive into the service area of culture and livability, to which Commissioner Ryan is the commissioner in charge. Before I hand it over, I want to remind listeners that we have one budget work session left this Thursday, March 23rd, and we're going to focus on community and economic development. There are also 3 community budget listening sessions. We'll take community input. The first is tomorrow, Tuesday, March 21st, from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Monday, April 10th, from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And then Saturday, April 15th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Work sessions and budget listening sessions are viewable on the City of Portland YouTube page, and community members can always sign up to speak at the budget listening sessions by visiting the City Budget Office website at www.portlandoregon.gov/CBO. Click on the fiscal year 23-24 budget events tab to find sign-up links. With that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Ryan to kick us off for today's work session.
Thank you, Mayor Wheeler.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm honored to participate in today's Culture and Livability Budget Work Session, focused on the Bureaus of Portland Parks and Recreation, the Office of Community and Civic Life, and the Office of Equity and Human Rights. We are also including 2 critically important programs that impact culture and livability: the city's arts program and the Portland Children's Levy, which is up for its 4th renewal this May. In January, we were all given new assignments, service area clusters of bureaus, offices, and programs, all of which are uniquely interconnected. We were asked to identify efficiencies and look for ways to streamline and complement similar services as we begin planning for a much-needed reorganization being mandated as a result of the voter-improved charter reform. As such, today's presentation will reflect on the connectivity between our bureau, offices, and programs, ensuring our city is a great place to live, work, and play, and one that embodies the principles of community, of equity, and inclusivity. Budget decisions will be made in the culture and livability service area based on basic service needs and expectations, as well as challenges and gaps I've identified with the service area leadership team. With that in mind, the following is a high-level preview of our bureaus, offices, and programs, and my vision for each as we plan for the next fiscal year and beyond. The Bureau of Parks and Recreation is responsible for managing and maintaining the city's parks, natural areas, and recreational facilities. The Bureau oversees more than 11,000 acres of parkland, including dozens of parks and trails and community gardens. The Bureau is also responsible for providing a wide range of recreational activities and programs for residents of all ages. Yes, parks is where we play. The Bureau is committed to providing equitable access to its programs and facilities, and the 2020 voter-approved Parks Local Option Levy has significantly increased access and inclusivity. Thank you, voters. While there is much to celebrate, I want to be real about the issues we are facing. Many of our city's downtown plazas are damaged and unsafe, and I'm committed to ensure they receive attention and are repaired and activated. The focus on these gems in the center of our city will impact our top priorities: community safety, economic development, and homelessness. I have asked the Parks leadership team to ensure the Ranger program is engaged and activated as part of our community safety response team citywide. This team includes Downtown Portland Clean and Safe, the Street Services team, the Impact Reduction team, Portland Street Response, and larger safety bureaus such as police and fire. One of our challenges is ensuring there is funding to continue leveraging the Ranger program as a public safety resource. There is deferred maintenance price tag. I think we've been hearing that as a theme of late. Over $800 million for Portland Parks infrastructure citywide. I'm committed to exploring a better long-term dedicated source of funding for the city's parks and recreational facilities, including the possibility of creating a parks district, an edit to a state statute, if you will, if our state leaders will allow this model, to explore this model with a local governance option. Park districts are a proven, successful model in cities across the country. Each of us, as city leaders, have inherited emergencies as a result of deferred maintenance investments. Our park staff are currently managing the replacement of light poles in several community parks, and I'm committed to urgency in the replacement process to ensure both personal and public safety standards are met, and I thank Portlanders for the grace as we tackle this emergency. There is also community expectation and a need for new investments to mitigate the closure, for example, of Columbia Pool in North Portland. And I'm looking forward to announcing that plan so the much-needed work can begin. Turning to the Office of Community and Civic Life serves as a central hub for community engagement and civic participation for our city. The office's mission is to strengthen the community and empower residents to take an active role in shaping the city's policies and priorities. The Office of Community and Civic Life should be a trusted, objective convener between neighbors, businesses, organizations, and the city in our 94 neighborhoods. And I want to amplify the civics in civic life, promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion throughout the city, and facilitating conversations around complex issues that too often are dominated by one point of view. The Office of Equity and Human Rights works closely with the city bureaus and departments to ensure equity considerations are integrated into all city policies and practices. The office also conducts research and data analysis to identify areas of inequity and develop strategies for addressing these issues. The office also provides workforce training and support to the city's employees and community partners to increase awareness and understanding of equity issues. I've asked the leadership in this office to engage and partner more directly with equity practitioners within bureaus and offices, and much more directly with the community. I would like staff from the Office of Equity to work in tandem with the Office of Community and Civic Life, specifically with the residents, the organizations, and the businesses in our 94 neighborhoods, to understand where improvement is needed and develop strategies collectively for addressing these inequities. The Portland Children's Levy is a voter-approved initiative that funds the programs and services for children and families in Portland, Oregon. Since its establishment in 2002, the levy has raised over $200 million to support a variety of children and youth service programs, including child abuse prevention and foster care services. The Portland Children's Levy has been instrumental in improving the lives of countless children and families in the area and is widely regarded as a model for other cities. The fourth renewal of the Portland Children's Levy will be on the ballot in May, and this renewal is especially important as we make up some devastating outcomes for our children and youth from the COVID lockdown. The role of the city's arts program is to support Portland's arts and culture ecosystem and expand opportunities for Portlanders to participate in creative experiences. The city's arts program currently oversees the arts services provided by the Regional Arts and Culture Council and coordinates arts-related services provided by city bureaus and other programming partners. I've asked the city arts program team to assess the arts-related service contracts for impact, performance, and opportunities for improvement. The team is also working to formalize the Arts Education and Access Fund structure, otherwise known as the Arts Tax, to clarify and improve operational processes and impacts. arts, music, culture stimulate our economy as well as bring joyful life back to our streets, our parks, and our entertainment venues. I intend to work closely with the City Arts Program to create a more vibrant and sustainable art scene in our city. Please do the next slide. That's what my notes say. Great. I'm so proud now to turn this presentation over to the talented and passionate public servants before you. This is the Culture and Livability Leadership Team: Adina Long, TJ McHugh, Jeff Selby, Jeff Hawthorne, and Lisa Pellegrino. Take it away.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. I'm Adina Long. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Director of Portland Parks and Recreation. In today's work session, we will first share the complementary services the Culture and Livability Service Area provides to Portlanders and the city's workforce, and then we will review each bureau and office's fiscal year 23-24 budget request. Next slide. Imagine Portland with no parks, art, sports, or recreation facilities, no murals or public art, a Portland that is not welcoming of historically oppressed communities. No disability access, no free summer concerts in the park, no swimming pools, no sports fields, no hiking paths in places like Forest Park, no Pioneer Courthouse Square, no programs to support our children. Would you still choose to live, work, and play here? Next slide. Fortunately, parks, sports, art, and creative culture are woven into the fabric of our city. We are striving to bring it to every neighborhood. Parks, recreation, art, and culture services not only make our neighborhoods special, but they also spark economic activity that has positive ripple effects on our local economy. While our city is a welcoming place for many, we must also acknowledge its painful history of systemic and institutional racism that created a long legacy of barriers that remain. Working with community-based organizations representing underserved Portlanders, the Livability and Culture Service Area programs are creating opportunities for children and families to overcome these challenges and supports their success at home, in school, and in the community. Next slide. This slide includes a photo of a Portland Saturday Market vendor holding a painting for sale. The weekly market features over 150 booths, showcasing a variety of arts and crafts sold by over 300 local Pacific Northwest artists in an open-air marketplace in Waterfront Park. Portland has long been known for its vibrant, diverse, creative economy, from fine arts to arts and crafts, art galleries to craft fairs, ballet to flamenco, jazz to classical, and everything in between. Our creativity drives innovation, inspires the founding of new companies, draws new employers and residents to our city, provides good jobs, and helps burnish our quality of life. Every aspect of our community would suffer without our creative culture. From the vibrant array of booths at Saturday Market to the powerhouses of Nike, Adidas, and the many design and apparel companies that call Portland home, the creative economy supports thousands of jobs and generates millions of dollars in economic activity annually. Next slide. Portland's parks, art, and creative economy makes Portland a great place to live, work, and play. First, parks make Portland a place people want to live and employers want to locate. In the 2019 Portland Insight Survey, access to the outdoors and natural areas was what people liked most about Portland, regardless of their race, age, or how long they've lived here. And Portlanders really use their parks. That same survey found that almost all respondents, 97%, visited Portland's parks and natural areas. Second, Portland can be a travel and event destination, supporting lodging, hospitality, and Portland's economy. Events and tourism has a big impact for Portland's economy. Travel Portland statistics found that in 2021, the Portland region welcomed 11.3 million overnight trips, with those visits resulting in $3.8 billion in direct spending, $88 million in local tax revenue, and that the travel industry supports over 27,000 jobs in the Portland area. Annual events like the Portland Rose Festival and the Blues Festival draw hundreds of thousands of visitors. A Sport Oregon report to council noted that NASCAR event hosted at the Portland International Raceway in June of 2022 produced upwards of $8 million in direct economic impact for our region. Third, the Culture and Livability Service Area promotes individual and community health and wellness. Parks and Recreation Services not only help people feel better, 93% of U.S. adults responding to the June 2021 National Recreation Park Association poll indicated their mental health was improved by services offered by local park agencies. I think many of us understood this as we visited parks during the COVID-19 pandemic. Next slide. This slide has a photo of Portland Parks and Recreation's Oaks Bottom Wildlife Refuge, a 163-acre complex of meadows, woodlands, and wetlands in Portland on the east bank of the Willamette River. Environmental Services, Portland Parks and Recreation, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers worked together in 2018 on a large-scale habitat enhancement project to benefit wildlife and people. The project restored 75 acres of wetland habitat. Climate change affects everyone, but people living on low incomes often face the starkest threats. Portland Parks and Recreation is working to make vulnerable communities more equitable, livable, and resilient to the effects of climate change. Parks and natural areas are being managed as green infrastructure. Trails provide carbon-free transportation and link residents to popular destinations and each other. Trees and shady green spaces reduce the urban heat island effect, protect people from heat waves, and reduce summer energy use. Water-smart parks, playgrounds, and natural areas absorb rainfall and reduce flooding. Through effective land management methods and green infrastructure investments, Parks and Recreation make communities more resilient to natural disasters, reduce living costs, and save lives. Next slide. Now, I'd like to invite Acting Director TJ McHugh to share the importance of community engagement in our work.
Hello, I'm TJ McHugh. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm here today in my role as Acting Director of the Office of Community and Civic Life. Strong community engagement is a result of Portlanders and city government working together to improve livability, culture, and connection. Civic Life provides two kinds of engagement services: geographic and demographic. Our geographic focus work with 94 neighborhood associations, dozens of civic groups and grantees, and 7 neighborhood district offices aim to ensure that every corner of the city has a network of people available to help solve problems. Our demographic focus work provides engagement support to youth, immigrants and refugees, disabled persons, and other vulnerable people, and aim to ensure that their involvement matters. Our office has also organized an internal working group that includes more than 50 city employees whose roles include active community engagement. The work group is sharing best practices and aligning resources and connections across city bureaus. We believe this work will streamline engagement and prevent duplication of effort, improving the experience of employees and constituents. Community engagement has been key to shaping the Portland Children Levy's funding priorities. In preparation for grant making, the Portland Children's Levy engages community members and service providers around community needs, preferred services and methods of delivery, and barriers to access. The City Arts Program is working across the greater Portland region in Clackamas, Multnomah, and Washington counties to set the vision for the next generation of arts and culture in our communities. This work relies on robust community engagement. Portland Parks and Recreation is changing the way it plans and makes strategic directions. Healthy Parks, Healthy Portland is the Bureau's strategic planning framework that will help address inequities in the parks and recreation system. An important component to Healthy Parks, Healthy Portland is an ongoing cycle of listening and learning with the community. The Office of Equity and Human Rights citywide language access program ensures that City of Portland provides meaningful access to the city's programs, services, activities, information, and communications to all community members, including individuals are limited English proficient. The program develops and provides city staff with language access policy, standard operating procedures, tools, resources, and guidance based on national and federal standards and best practices for implementation at the City Bureau level. Next slide. The key to engagement is understanding who lives, works, and plays in Portland. For the last 2 years, Civic Life has been working with Portland State University's Population Research Center to collect and package data from the 2020 census and other sources to have a better understanding of who Portlanders are and what they need. The collected demographic data includes standard data points like age, sex, and ethnicity, but it also includes important data points like language spoken at home, disability, social vulnerability, education level, households with children, broadband access, and more. Census data is organized by census blocks, which do not follow Portland's neighborhood boundaries. A large portion of PSU's work has been to organize that census data by neighborhood boundaries so that we have a much more focused understanding of the needs of our communities. This data will allow the city to tailor our programs and services to meet the needs of specific communities. Importantly, data such as languages spoken at home and broadband access will help improve the city's outreach and engagement. We are excited to learn that the Independent District Commission will be using the data from the neighborhood profiles to inform their work as they identify the 4 geographic districts for Portland's new city council. PSU has released the data in static PDFs based on each neighborhood and an overall Portland profile. In 2023, PSU will release a user-friendly and interactive tool allowing people to pull and compare data to ensure all Portlanders benefit from the city investments and services. Jeff Selby, Interim Director of Equity and Human Rights, shared the Culture and Livability Service Area's focus on equity. Next slide.
Thank you, TJ. Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Selby. I use he, him pronouns. I'm the Interim Director of the Office of Equity and Human Rights, as you just heard. The Office of Equity sets the equity vision and policy for the city, leading the city's commitment to equity and upholding the city's promise to systemically excluded and institutionally oppressed communities. Anti-racism and equity are 2 of the 7 city core values. Equity can be described in many ways, but can also be simply defined as when one's identity cannot predict the outcome. The Office of Equity's education and consulting efforts, tools, and resources have helped the city institutionalize equity in many key policies, and the work of equity managers and practitioners throughout the city ensures the work is moving forward in their respective bureaus. The Culture and Livability Service Area has myriad examples of equitable policies and practices. As directed by Council's February 2023 transition resolution, we are working to align the priorities and actions of the Office of Equity and the Office of Community and Civic Life. The strategies will position the Office of Equity to assume more leadership in the city's pursuit of community-centered equity impacts. Next slide, please. When systemically excluded Portlanders can access government services, our whole community thrives. The goals of the Office of Equity programs are to assure and actively demonstrate that the city provides inclusive, accessible, and meaningful participation and engagement for all, fosters, provides, and promotes equitable benefits of government, identifies and prevents discrimination, and ensures equitable impacts, treatment, and non-discrimination in city decision-making in its public policies, plans, and programs and services. We have many examples of this equity work in action in the Cultural and Livability Service Area. Take the Portland Children's Levy, for example. Thanks to them, over 12,000 children and youth will receive hunger relief services, and 10,000 children and youth will be supported by the levy's investments in early childhood, child abuse prevention and intervention, foster youth, and after-school and mentoring services. Parks and Recreation's Adaptive and Inclusive Recreation Program provides recreational, educational, and wellness programs for people with disabilities. This is in addition to Portland Parks and Recreation's inclusion services that support people with disabilities participating in its programs. In 2022, Civic Life hosted the city's the second annual Welcoming Week. This free week-long event builds strong community support for immigrant and refugees, and art, performances, information, and community discussions to all Portlanders. Over 5,000 Portlanders participated in the 2022 Welcoming Week week-long event, whose activities range from an opening ceremony in Ventura Park, a panel discussion on Black identity through the immigrant lens, and an Afghan concert and poetry reading. Next slide, please. Another important way our service area works towards equity is through developing and maintaining an inclusive workforce. This slide has a photo of the Diverse and Empowered Employees of Portland Executive Committee, or DEEP, from a past retreat. DEEP is the city's employee resource group program and is funded by the Office of Equity and Human Rights. The goal of DEEP is to be a resource to city employees and work with Office of Equity and Human Rights and city bureaus to create a welcoming workplace where cultural connections are celebrated and employees are supported. Each office and bureau in our service area is taking action to diversify its workforce and empower employees, and progress is being made in creating a more inclusive workplace. For instance, in December of 2020, City Council adopted the Office of Equity's language pay differential policy to increase equitable access to city government for linguistically and culturally diverse community members and to rectify workplace equity issues and provide compensation to city staff who provide language assistance to the public. Since its implementation last year, over 250 employees in 21 bureaus and 2 commissioners' offices have qualified for the language pay differential. Next slide, please. A third way we work towards equity in the cultural and livability service area is through equitable contracting. The Office of Equity works with procurement services to ensure equitable practices, including providing an equity lens for updating the social equity in contracting program, and participating in the process to ensure that the Community Opportunities and Enhancement Program meets its equity objectives. Portland Parks and Recreation has prioritized equity in contracting for firms who are certified by the Office for Business Inclusion and Diversity, or COBID certified. Over the first 7 years of the 2014 Parks Replacement Bond, Parks and Recreation has awarded 39% of the value of design, service, and construction work to consultants and contractors in the category of disadvantaged, minority-owned, women-owned, emerging small businesses, service-disabled veterans business enterprises, and that nearly doubles the city's 20% goal. Civic Life embeds equity in all its programs and grants and contracts totaling almost $3.5 million. Further, neighborhood-level grants and contracts for neighborhood associations and small organizations support an array of small, grassroots civic organizations designed to support a diverse array of communities and projects at the hyper-local level. Next slide, please. Next, you'll hear from Jeff Hawthorne, Program Manager for the City Arts Program, about the importance of arts and culture to Portland's identity and vitality, and the critical role our service area plays in supporting the arts. Jeff?
Thanks, Jeff. Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Hawthorne. I'm the city's arts program manager. I use he, him pronouns. We all know that arts and culture fuel our economy and shape our identity. Indeed, Portland is widely recognized as a center for creativity. The City Arts Program, which is housed in the Office of Management and Finance, works with city bureaus, council offices, the Regional Arts and Culture Council, and other public and private partners to support our vibrant arts and culture ecosystem. Our collective goal is to expand opportunities for all Portlanders to participate in the arts, because access to culture, creativity, and the arts are essential to a healthy and democratic society. Next slide, please. Here in Portland, we celebrate and support creativity in all forms so that our communities can connect, our businesses can flourish, and our students can succeed in school and beyond. The City Arts Program's primary service provider is the Regional Arts and Culture Council, also known as RAC. RAC awards more than $4 million a year in grants, providing vital financial support to more than 60 local arts organizations and 100 individual artists each year. Arts organizations and artists use these funds in turn to offer a wide variety of arts and culture programs in our community, from the Portland Art Museum to Chamber Music Northwest to Northwest Dance Project, all shown here. These events are enjoyed by more than 3 million residents and visitors alike every year. And these events generate revenue for the city as well, because the combined spending of these arts organizations and artists and their audiences are about $330 million every year. That's direct spending that supports more than 11,000 jobs in our region. RAC also manages the city's public art collection, a free open-air museum of over 500 permanently sited works like Portlandia next door, plus over 1,500 portable artworks that rotate throughout city and county buildings. Portland Parks and Recreation is also a significant provider of arts-related services for the city, providing arts programming and space for community use at community centers across the city, including Multnomah Arts Center, the Interstate Firehouse Cultural Center, and the Community Music Center, as well as events and performances that are open to the community, like summer free-for-all, free movies, and concerts. And the Portland Children's Levy also funds several arts-focused after-school enrichment programs for children and youth, and wraparound after-school programming that includes a wide range of arts instruction with SUN programs at 4 schools. Our next theme is community partnerships, and we'll discuss the ways we collaborate with the public, from grant-making to volunteering to shared leadership. I invite Lisa Pellegrino, Director of Portland Children's Levy, to discuss our service area's community partnership work.
Thanks, Jeff. Good afternoon, Council. I'm Lisa Pellegrino, Director at the Children's Levy, and I use she, her pronouns. Our community thrives when we work together, and our service areas play a leading role in bringing our community together. Equity and inclusion policies and practices are foundational to our collective community partnership efforts. Can you bring the next slide? Oops, maybe we go 2 slides. There we go. One more, please. Thanks. One way we support partnerships is through grant making. In fiscal year 24, the Portland Children's Levy, Portland Parks and Recreation, and the Office of Community and Civic Life will collectively give over $30 million to community-based organization partners. These grant programs all focus on equity. The Children's Levy budget includes $27 million to support multi-year grants to more than 50 community-based organizations, delivering more than 80 culturally relevant and responsive programs for historically marginalized children. Between 75 and 80% of children served in these programs identify as Black, Indigenous, or of color. Portland Parks and Recreation will partner strategically with community-based and culturally specific organizations to support innovative, culturally relevant, and community-driven programs, and also to expand the use of parks facilities in communities who do not have a history of using parks. In fiscal year 22, Parks and Recreation awarded approximately $1.3 million to 20 organizations to provide youth and teen-focused services. This new opportunity will complement Parks' current investment in community grants of more than $2.6 million annually. The Office of Community and Civic Life supports grassroots organizations, youth, disability justice efforts, education development, entrepreneurship and economic development, and social justice. The total amount of grant funds in the office's requested budget is $3.5 million, which includes $1.1 million seed grant, which will be moving to Prosper Portland. Next slide, please. These 3 photos show the Fresh Food Market programming, an example of a grant-driven partnership between Portland Parks and Rec, Portland Children's Levy, Oregon Food Bank, and the David Douglas School District. The market happened weekly last summer at Raymond Park in Southeast Portland and offers fresh produce for families in need. In the first photo, staff of the Oregon Food Bank set up a multilingual sign welcoming families to the market. The second and third photos show an adult shopping at the market with a child in a stroller. This market and 2 others like it, funded by a Children's Levy grant to the Oregon Food Bank, provided over 35,000 pounds of fresh fruit and vegetables and nutritious snacks to children and families. This Fresh Market program is just part of the free lunch and play program that's led by Portland Parks. Free lunch and play offers accessible meal service and engaging activities at multiple parks and apartment complexes throughout the city, and helps assure that children who receive free meals in schools during the school year have access to food over the summer. Next slide, please. Mobilizing volunteers is essential to the success of the culture and livability service area. Volunteers contribute so much to the vibrancy of our community and help us provide better services and programs. Their efforts build Portland's community and support equitable civic engagement. For example, Portland Parks and Recreation's Natural Areas Stewardship Program works with volunteers of all ages to restore and enhance Portland parks and natural areas, as you see in the photos. Last year, they engaged 120 partner groups, serving racially and ethnically diverse communities, holding 437 volunteer events in 49 parks. The program also supports long-term mentorship and career opportunities for young people by collaborating with community partners to provide internship programs. Next slide, please. This slide shows Mercedes Frit on the right. She's a hunger relief specialist for El Programa Hispano-Católico, a Children's Levy grantee partner who runs a school-based food pantry at the Floyd Light Middle School SUN program. Mercedes is pictured here with Allison, a 7th grader at Floyd Light, who's used the SUN school-based food pantry there. Schools Uniting Neighborhoods, otherwise known as SUN, is an example of a complex and effective multi-agency partnership between Multnomah County, Portland Parks and Recreation, local school districts, and the Portland Children's Levy, and community-based organizations. SUN community schools act as neighborhood hubs for services that support students and families, and the collaboration prioritizes students and families that are disproportionately impacted by systemic inequities and historically excluded from educational opportunities. So that concludes the first half of our presentation, which is focused on the ways that Culture and Livability Service Area makes Portland a better place to live, work, and play. We lead the city's approach to equity, to arts and culture, to community partnerships, and to neighborhood vibrancy. The second half of the presentation will provide a financial overview of each service area. I'm going to turn it over to Claudio Campuzano, who's the Finance and Property and Technology Manager from Portland Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, team, and thank you, colleagues, for listening to that presentation, the first part. We wanted to really take the assignment seriously of how all of the bureaus and offices are working together collectively in culture and livability. So I hope that helped clear your throats and your eyes to accept where we're going as a city government. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Claudio Campuzano, Finance, Property, and Technology Manager for Portland Parks and Recreation. I use he, him pronouns. Next slide. As we move on to look at each bureau and office within the Culture and Livability Service Area, here's an overview of the total budget for that service area. In the upcoming slides, we'll be looking at how each bureau or office is organized to deliver services, where the funding comes from, and how it's spent. Then we'll look at the financial issues particular to each bureau or office, including one-time funding challenges. At the summary level, while there may be high demand for services from this service area, from the community and from internal stakeholders, except for a relatively small financial imbalance in civic life, the service area largely has a balanced budget for 23-24, and also a few one-time issues that we'll discuss as we go through. We'll share that there are major maintenance and other service financial risks, but what we have before you today is largely a balanced budget without budget requests from the general fund. Now we'll begin with that green slice, Portland Parks and Recreation. Next slide. Director Long.
Thank you, Claudio. Portland Parks and Recreation's mission is to provide equitable access to welcoming places, programs, and services that improve community health and our environment. Next slide. Healthy Parks, Healthy Portland is Portland Parks and Recreation's strategic planning framework, an ongoing, cyclical, and iterative process represented here. This is where service levels identified from a variety of planning efforts for parks and natural areas, community centers, urban tree canopy, operations, infrastructure, and more all come together. These service levels have initially been identified through discussions with the community and will continue to be informed by ongoing listening and learning, allowing us to learn and adapt to make sure our goals are reflective of community needs. In addition to being continually informed by listening and learning, it will support our equity and anti-racism work by illustrating disparities across the system in our service, and will inform how we spend money to reduce disparities, prioritize equity, and create tangible outcomes for the community. Next slide. Our community continues to face inequities, whether visiting a neighborhood park, accessing nature, or learning how to swim. Equity has been and continues to be at the forefront of our management decisions, and we've made progress. We've made our workforce more reflective of the Portland community. We've prioritized equity in contracting, and we're dedicated to making our programming more culturally responsive. Equity will continue to inform how we address upcoming challenges and opportunities, regardless of our funding levels. Next slide. It's helpful to get an overview of the organization and how we are structured to deliver services. So here's a very high-level organizational chart. Portland Parks and Recreation is divided into 5 divisions and 1 office. 4 of the divisions provide direct services. Those are the ones starting at the left: land stewardship, urban forestry, assets and development, and recreation services. Land stewardship does all the daily care and maintenance of our developed parks and natural areas. They empty trash, clean bathrooms, and maintain plantings. And they maintain and repair trails, eliminate invasive weeds, and plant native species. They run our community gardens, and they provide environmental education and work experiences to youth. The 203 FTE you see here is augmented throughout the year, particularly in the summer, by seasonal maintenance workers and other seasonal staff. Urban Forestry enforces the city's tree code Title 11, manages our tree planting program, responds to tree emergencies, and maintains trees on park property, as well as for other Bureau customers. Assets and Development manages the life cycle of our assets, from planning, the expansion of our system, through design and construction, to repair and maintenance, to replacement and upgrading. Recreation Services is the team that operates our community centers and outdoor pools and programs our parks all summer as part of the summer free-for-all and free lunch and play programs. They offer arts programming at the Multnomah Arts Center and the Community Music Center, as well as delivering programs through our community partners. They program 11 Sun Schools, and they provide adaptive and inclusive recreation and programming. They also manage our golf program, the Portland International Raceway, and the Portland Tennis Center. Operations and Strategies is the team that provides mostly central services: workforce, communications, community engagement, technology, finance, property management, permitting, and reservations. And it also includes the safety and security program, including the Park Ranger program. The Equity and Inclusion team provides support and strategic direction on the Bureau's equity and anti-racism initiatives. Next slide. Now I'm going to pass it back to Claudio, who will walk us through the numbers. Claudio?
Great. So we'll start with resources. This is where the money comes from that supports our operations. Portland Parks and Recreation budgets in a number of funds, including the General Fund, the 2020 Parks Levy Fund, the Golf Fund, Portland International Raceway Fund, and several others. Starting with the biggest slice, the green one in the lower right, that's the General Fund discretionary. It's our current appropriation level target. While we have many sources of funding, the General Fund tax resources continue to be at the core of how we pay for operations. Skipping to the top yellow taxes slice, that reflects revenue from the 2020 Parks Levy. As you can see, this is a significant increment on top of those General Fund tax resources, and it is allowing us to meet the expectations of additional services and lowering cost as a barrier for our programming. While revenue is received into the Parks Levy Fund as taxes, that fund reimburses the General Fund for Parks Levy eligible expenditures. And they're received on the General Fund side as fund transfer revenues. So most of the yellow and orange slices are two sides of the same transaction. We also receive a significant amount of capital resource from the General Fund as a cash transfer into our capital fund. This totals $4.7 million. That $4.7 million is what Portland Parks and Recreation receives annually to renew our over $2 billion in physical assets and to implement our ADA transition plan. The next slice to note is the gray charges for services slice. This is made up of a couple of components from different funds. On the operating side, you've got the fees we charge for our programming, including in the Golf Fund and at the Raceway. And on the capital side, we've got about $24 million budgeted for Park System Development Charges, or SDCs. Those are the resources we receive related to new development, and they allow us to expand our system to meet the needs of a growing city. We'll cover some of the key investments that SDCs have allowed us to make when we discuss capital spending in just a moment. So next, we'll move on to where the money goes. How do we spend it? Next slide. There we go. So everyone is probably familiar with most of these categories. We expect to spend over $114 million in personnel in 23-24, including full-time and part-time staff and our large seasonal casual workforce. In addition, we've budgeted over $117 million in external materials and services, reflecting both day-to-day operational spending as well as design and engineering contracts and other professional and technical services in our capital program. Internal materials and services at $27.2 million is largely what we pay the Office of Management and Finance for central services like fleet, technology, procurement, insurance, facilities, and more. And capital outlay is what we spend on the construction of new or renewed physical assets. And fund transfer expenses are that reimbursement for the Parks Levy Fund that I mentioned before. Next slide. Here you see Portland Parks and Recreation financial plan for the General Fund, which is our operating fund for nearly all of our activities. This chart shows revenues above the zero line in the middle expenses below the zero line, and the red line reflects our net expenses or revenues. You'll see that the red line stays in the middle, meaning that we expect to be balanced through all the years of the Parks levy, with the final tax collections coming from the 2025 tax bill. Reimbursements from the Parks levy, that orange portion, reach a peak of $53.5 million in 25-26. Our forecast currently does not anticipate a successor resource, whether it be a renewal or of the Parks levy or some other more permanent funding source. Without that, you can see that the remaining balance after the last full year of the current levy can fund a portion of expenses in 26-27, but with a gap anticipated. And the red line goes below the zero line. That gap grows in 27-28 after the remaining balance is fully exhausted. While this slide shows what happens to net operating expenses without a successor resource, our expense planning assumes a continuation of that resource at the same rate. And as such, the budget additions that were included in our requested budget constitute what we call the full build of the Parks levy expense base. Next slide. The Portland Parks and Recreation capital plan for fiscal year 24 through 28 totals $235 million. More than half of that reflects growth in capacity, largely funded by system development charges. Other resources include an annual allocation from general fund for major maintenance, Build Portland funding, capital set-aside allocations, Metro bond funding, and others. Here we have a few examples to give a sense of the breadth of this capital program. We're building a neighborhood skate park with right-of-way and accessibility improvements at Berrydale Park. We're implementing the master plan for a recreational and natural play area, trail, and other improvements at Arrow Heights Park. And we've secured nearly $32 million in funding for an estimated $50 million needed to build a new aquatic center in North Portland, one that will replace and considerably expand the capacity of the now defunct Columbia Pool. Next slide. So as we talk about decision packages, just a reminder that these decision packages are not requesting additional general fund, but are supported by the Parks levy and other internal resources. The first package you see here funds our Access Pass, an annual pass that allows customers experiencing financial hardships to self-select a discount rate to Portland Parks and Recreation registered programs and drop-in programs. Second is an expansion of the Teen Force program to serve youth on the west side, and an expansion of arts programming where we reach beyond our arts-focused facilities in partnership with culturally specific community organizations citywide at their sites and in their service areas. Next is an increase to parks operations and maintenance for new parks, as well as improvements to recycling yard debris and mulch and compost to be delivered to parks rather than by purchasing it. In the past, the operations and maintenance cost would have been a general fund request, but the Parks levy allows us to take on these responsibilities without impacting the general fund. We're also continuing our effort to replace trash cans in our system and increase our water budget so we can increase hours at the 18 splash pads citywide by 2 hours each day in summertime. Next, tree canopy. This investment supports key commitments of the Parks levy, including planting new trees, protecting those we have, creating an arborist apprenticeship program, and supporting a Portland Parks and Recreation tree permit financial hardship fee waiver. Swim lessons were specifically called out as an area of focus for the Parks levy. This year, a new labor contract increased wages for lifeguards and swim instructors, providing premiums for those certifications and making those jobs more attractive in what has been a very competitive labor environment. Second, we've hired a talent acquisition staff person focused on recruiting and hiring aquatic staff. In this budget, we'll be looking to add staffing capacity to our indoor and outdoor aquatic facilities and aquatics maintenance staff. With these changes, we expect to get ever closer to full utilization of our existing pool infrastructure for the delivery of lessons and other programming. Finally, there are several items that will keep moving important strategic initiatives forward, including Healthy Parks, Healthy Portland, and the Sustainable Future Program, as well as recruitment efforts. Next slide. The city budget, can you move, next slide, please? There we go, thanks. The City Budget Office directed bureaus to highlight areas where they've received one-time funding, either as general fund, American Rescue Plan, or other funds, for programs that might be considered to be ongoing. Portland Parks and Recreation has only one such item, 7 positions in the Park Ranger program. Given the timeline for staffing up these positions, the expectation is that the American Rescue Plan Act funds should support them through 2024. Thereafter, a successor funding solution would need to be identified or the program would be reduced. While this is not a current budget year issue, we're just flagging it as an item for future consideration. Next slide. This map shows the location of Portland Parks and Recreation assets that have been assessed and found to be in poor or very poor condition. These are the assets at greatest risk of failure. A good practice for capital maintenance is to invest 3% of the replacement value of our assets to repair our assets and infrastructure. We have not been able to do this. As a result, our system is not in good condition, and we have about $600 million in growing major maintenance backlog. Next slide. The good practice of investing 3% of the portfolio replacement value would be about $55 million in additional capital investment in fiscal year 23. The green line is the good practice level investment. The green bars show our historic actual investment levels. As you can see, Portland Parks and Recreation is not sufficiently funded to maintain Portland's park and recreation assets. Average capital maintenance spending of well less than 1% of replacement value, not 3%, over the past 10 years is leading to excessive risk, assets unexpectedly being closed for life safety, and steadily degrading conditions. One-time investments from general fund, bonds, or other resources have made a difference, but these one-time funding sources haven't gotten Portland Parks and Recreation to the levels it needs to appropriately maintain the assets Portlanders have invested in building and depend on. For example, as you all know, PP&R is engaged in a light pole safety project. The Bureau is taking extraordinary measures to identify funding sources without requesting additional funding from the city's general fund, such as redirecting already budgeted major maintenance funds, requesting federal earmarks, requesting Metro Park Bond local share funds, and last, using future major maintenance allocations as a repayment source for financing the project. While that addresses this need, it reduces our capacity to do projects going forward. There are many park facilities in need of repair, and their costs are looming on the horizon. Next slide. In addition to light poles, we had to close Columbia Pool. We have a goal of a full-service community center within 3 miles of every Portlander. Citywide, we're doing well. 7 in 10 Portlanders live within 3 miles of a full-service community center, but in North Portland, only 3 in 10 residents have 3-mile access. Building a North Portland Aquatic Center could help close this gap, however, as I noted on an earlier slide. More funding is needed to fully fund that project. Next slide. Now I'll turn it over to Director Long.
Our leading opportunities are thanks to Portland voters' overwhelming approval of the Parks levy, so that Portland Parks and Recreation could provide recreation for all, increasing access to recreation services by reducing cost as a barrier, and centering our programming and outreach on diverse populations, including communities of color, seniors, teens, households experiencing poverty, immigrants and refugees, and people with disabilities. Protect and grow nature, maintaining parks, improving the health of natural areas, and increasing tree planting and care for Portland's tree canopy and the benefits it provides. And community partnerships, building strong community partnerships and increasing engagement with culturally specific and community-based organizations so Portland Parks and Recreation understands how to meet the needs of underserved communities. Next slide. As you know, especially due to our ever-changing climate, our green assets, including our tree canopy, are critical to our communities. They help provide clean air, reduce stormwater runoff, reduce heat, and keep our communities livable and resilient. West of the Willamette River, communities enjoy 56% tree canopy. Even if we didn't include Forest Park, tree canopy is 44%. East of the Willamette, tree canopy is 21%, which is on par with Los Angeles. And keep in mind, 80% of our city's population lives east of the Willamette. This disparity affects the health and quality of life for Portlanders east of the river. On a summer afternoon, temperatures east of the river can be 15 degrees hotter than west of the river. The Parks Levy is providing funds to increase planting and proactive tree maintenance in parks. PP&R will plant 1,200 street trees per year over the course of the Parks Levy. All of the trees will be planted in the neighborhoods that need them the most. These priority neighborhoods are based on where canopy levels are lowest and where resources for tree planting are needed the most. to address the existing inequities in urban canopy relative to race and income. We are also prioritizing planting large and medium-form trees to maximize the future canopy potential. In addition to street trees, 2,000 yard trees will be planted annually through the Yard Tree Giveaway program. Park levy resources aren't just being used for planting. They are also being used to perform proactive tree maintenance in parks, where previously the Bureau was only able to do reactive emergency maintenance. This will help preserve and improve the health of our existing canopy, another critical piece. Next slide. People want their parks and recreation system to be clean and to feel safe. In our most recent community survey, safety and cleanliness were a barrier for too many of our neighbors. We've taken actions to improve safety, cleanliness, and better maintain our parks and infrastructure. Park rangers have increased their capacity to serve parks, including expanded coverage in underserved areas. With more park rangers and enhanced call answering and supervisor support to triage issues, the Bureau can improve service in parks. For instance, our park rangers regularly refer people living outside in parks to shelter more than any other city service. The Parks Levy committed to enhancing park maintenance to keep parks clean and safe and to have our equipment functioning properly, including litter and hazardous waste removal, restroom cleaning, and playground safety. This includes providing safety checks on play equipment and improving routine and preventative maintenance. Before the Parks Levy, Portland Parks and Recreation's maintenance team was 11% smaller than it was 10 years prior. During that same period, Portland's population grew by 13%. There were fewer resources to handle daily maintenance as the city grew and parks saw more visitors. But thanks to the Parks Levy, Portland Parks and Recreation is hiring 20 new positions in our Assets and Development Division who will be focused on repair and maintenance, and 51 new positions in our Land Stewardship Division, including positions specifically focused on maintenance of parks and natural areas. Additionally, newly leased maintenance facilities in Southeast and Northeast Portland will support better daily maintenance for both developed parks and natural areas. Next slide. With the Parks Levy, Portland Parks and Recreation now has the financial resources to reduce cost as a barrier for participants. In addition to discount options, Portland Parks and Recreation also continues to provide free programming, which is in alignment with the Parks Levy commitment to reduce cost as a barrier. Programs like Summer Free-for-All, Sun Community School programming, and teen programming are provided with no cost to participate. Supported with resources from the Parks Levy, Portland Parks and Recreation looks forward to ensuring that recreation and environmental education programs are truly for everyone. Next slide. Portland Parks and Recreation's resources are not at a level that can sustain all of these services for the long term. We know that without additional resources, our ability to provide services Portlanders have said they value will decline. Portland Parks and Recreation is committed to establishing a more financially sustainable future that aligns equitable service and funding levels. That's why we're continuing the work of looking at potential new funding alternatives and investigating options for ballot initiatives. Following on this City Council's endorsement, this past month, Representative Travis Nelson introduced a bill in the Oregon State House to allow for a city government governance option for a parks district. In addition, Portland Parks and Recreation continues to investigate optimal ways to fund its major maintenance backlog. Next slide. This animation shows our system's expansion by decade. Keep on clicking. Our Bureau has a history of using tax measures to support our work. Over the last 120 years, we have gone to the voters many times for operating levies and capital bonds. As you know, most recently, voters passed a 5-year operating levy in 2020. Voters last passed a $68 million bond measure in 2014, replacing a 1994 bond that was retiring. This support has enabled the development of the parks and recreation system we have today. Next slide. Next, you'll be hearing from TJ McHugh about the Office of Community and Civic Life. do we want to do questions first? Shall we pause for questions?
Oh, yeah, we thought this would be a good time for questions and then maybe a restroom break. Bio.
Great. Anybody else want to jump in first?
I had one on the
Go
district.
ahead, and then I've got a couple.
Could you just update us on the district proposal? I got some highlights from interested constituents last week, and it would fit under city government, or would it be a distinct managed board under what's currently proposed for the city of Portland? Just curious, high level, the structure.
Sure. Well, the legislation would allow for a city structure to govern it, and currently that isn't the case.
So that contrasts like Tualatin Rec District, which has its own distinct board, not under a city government.
Correct, that's a private board.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a change to a state statute. It would just give us a chance to explore it.
Got it.
Yeah.
And that would
And we have a
obviously be
hearing
in,
this next week on that.
that would be in lieu of a levy.
I think it's just, the mayor just asked that be in lieu of a levy.
It's actually just a form of governance. It's regardless of funding source. So it could be funded with a levy or some other.
What's the primary goal then? Because this was brought up in the context of budgeting and planning. What's the difference?
So I think it's just allowing for the possibility of such a structure, because currently in state law, it's not allowable. Only counties can be.
Is the goal to change the financing structure for the parks? I just want a straight answer. Is this a governance issue? Is this a financing issue? Why?
Sure. Hi,
Thanks.
Todd
Help me.
Lofgren, Deputy Director, Portland Parks and Recreation. So the Parks District state statute is merely a governance issue. What's followed on from that, and I'll use the example of the state of Washington. So the state of Washington passed legislation in 2002, similar to what's being proposed by Representative Nelson down in Salem now. In 2014, then the city of Seattle passed a local governance parks district, so its city council could act both as the city council and the parks district governance
What
body.
problem is it trying to solve?
Well,
I'm
that's
sorry
what I was
to be
about
so
to.
stupid, but I'm truly not following.
And so what that provided was stable funding for the park system in Seattle. And so well, two things. There was an intergovernmental agreement between the city of Seattle and the new Parks Governance Board, which was a commitment to use the general fund from the city to complement added resources from the Parks District. And then they passed a permanent levy for the Parks District. It was just a funding mechanism, and then the governance still was done by the city council.
Okay, so let me see if I can
Sure.
reiterate this, just so I have it crystal clear. Director Lund made a strong case that the fluctuation in funding and the uncertainty of funding makes it very difficult for us to plan both capital operations as well as address day-to-day operations. She further indicated that there are significant capital needs currently in the park and projected going forward. What she hinted at, that I happen to know, is the parks are the most beloved thing that we do as a city. People love the parks and they want them well-maintained. So there are multiple things that you think could be supported here. If you went to a district financing strategy, I assume it would be in lieu of going out with levies all the time. Is that correct?
One option would be to take our parks levy, which is currently temporary, has to be renewed by voters every 5 years, and make it permanent.
Got it.
And
Okay.
today, the parks levy is limited to only operating dollars. And so if you had a permanent funding source for the park system, the governance body, the local city council, could be using that for capital or for operating costs, for instance. That would be a new flexibility we don't have today.
So the main problem that this solves is capital planning and financing. Is that accurate?
Well, and long-term stability on the operating funds. So today, we're dependent
certain.
on the city
More certain.
council, right, to approve an annual budget that we go year to year. The
Got it.
city council approves it in June, and then we're supposed to operate it in July 1st, right? If you had an operating budget that was predicted into the future, you could have more planful discussions with the community and more stability in services, similar to Bureau of Environmental Services and the Water Bureau. They're not dependent on a year-to-year budget approval. They have longer-term planning. General fund bureaus, Parks isn't unique, all of us are general fund bureaus, have that year-to-year risk, and so that holds you back from long-term planning, long-term financing options.
Mr. Mayor, can I jump in with
Yeah,
just
please.
a quick
Yeah.
clarifying question? I totally hear you on this, on the benefits to the Bureau for stability. Could we achieve some of at least some of that same benefit by giving the Parks Bureau a 2-year budget, for example? Is it just the predictability there, or yeah, let me ask that question. Would a 2-year budget help the Parks Bureau get in, would a 2-year budget be helpful to the Parks Bureau?
Do you want to answer from a finance perspective, or do you want me to answer it first?
I think from.
All right. Yeah, so 2 years normally isn't long enough to make longer-term commitments. For instance, we have a partner like Pioneer Courthouse Square.
Yep.
Every year, we have a conversation about how much the bathrooms are going to cost. Our commitment is year to year. We have long-term partners that make long-term investments, but we're a short-term. Every contract we have says, except for if the city council doesn't want to fund it. And so there's a lot of things like that, that if you had a longer term, you could be more stable, you could be more planful, and then you could finance against it. So Mayor Wheeler did a great job with Build Portland, came up with a funding source that was regular, reliable, and then used that for capital. That was from general fund. We could be doing the same within the park system. We don't do that right now because it's year to year, and 2 years wouldn't be enough to do the capital financing.
Okay, thank you, that was helpful. And Mr. Mayor, I have a couple of questions that I could continue with as long as I have the floor. Can we scroll back in the slides? I think there's a slide early in the financial part of the presentation which deals with probably where Parks Bureau funds go.
I don't know who has control, and
Can we move back?
I have no. There we go.
There we go.
I was having a
Sorry,
1978
which slide?
flashback.
It's a budget slide for parks. I think it came in relatively early in the budget piece. I think it talks about where your dollars go, and specifically, I'm interested in the dollars going to. There we go. Is that it?
Yeah, that's the expenses, yeah.
Yeah, that's the expense side.
No, I think personnel versus, I was interested in how much you guys spend on personnel versus OMF. Is that what we're looking at? That's external materials and services is OMF, is that correct?
It's largely OMF. About a little under $20 million is OMF.
Okay. And I don't have all the other slides right in my head, or the other bureaus in my head, but it seems like a lot, especially when you can compare it to. You spend more. You send more dollars over to OMF than you do on staff, which is not.
So.
Personnel services is the large orange.
Yep. Personal services, that large orange slice is the biggest slice.
That's the biggest slice.
That's the biggest slice.
Yep. And then external materials. And
Wait a minute.
services.
Personal surveys in that 114 million versus
Yep.
117 million for external services.
Oh, external is not for. That's not OMF. That's all of our. That's all of our. Design, design, engineering, and then also all of our materials and services for.
Okay, is OMF on this slide?
Yeah, OMF is the
Gray?
Is
Internal
the light blue
materials.
slide, the light blue slice next to the dark.
Internal, okay, that's helpful to me. I missed it in real time.
And it's worth noting that they don't make up the entire slice. They're most of the slice, but some of that is either with other bureaus or also some internal transfers.
Got it. I think I understand where my confusion came from. Let's go to the map that shows parks assets that are in poor or very poor condition. Helpful slide. I guess one of the things, you appear to own some assets outside the city. Is that?
That is true.
Can you provide us with some context on that?
So Red Tail Golf Course, you'll see out in Beaverton, near Beaverton, and then we have the Springwater Trail, which actually goes all the way out to Boring.
All right. Golf course, the trail. We don't have to do it today. It's at some point when things are quieter, I'd love to get some historical background and maybe some context to how to think about that. I know you're not the only bureau to have some assets outside the city, but it does seem to be interesting that Parks in particular has this challenge. How about we roll forward? I think one of the next slides should be your capital maintenance slide. Yeah. So if I'm reading this right, this shows real spending for capital maintenance versus targeted spending or our goal spending for maintenance, which we've heard best practices says should come in around 3%. We're way less than that. And I heard passing references around the Bureau's plans to get those bars to meet that line, but we didn't really go into much depth there. What needs to happen in order for our bars to meet the line? And I've been thinking about this. I mean, we all, as you referenced in your presentation, we know that we've had to remove some infrastructure in parks lately because of essentially, I think, this problem. How do we get out of this this cycle of neglect? Yeah, how do we get out of this?
No, I'll turn it over to you for sustainable future discussion.
Sure. So we're trying to balance the service expectations of the council and the community with our available resources. And so that's part of what's driving the gap. We have high aspirations in Portland for what Portlanders want out of their park system. So we keep hearing we want a world-class park system. We want to be a national leader. So that's driving us to continue to invest, build new parks, close the equity gaps, right? And then we have this gap, which is we invest not enough in the major maintenance and replacement of our aging assets. And how you get out of that is we're coming up with different alternatives through sustainable future. So looking at capital bonds historically is what the city has done, what that one slide showed over the past 100 years. We've done that. Temporary levies, that's on the operating side. So that's kind of the day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month. So we're hiring more plumbers, more welders, more carpenters to kind of fix and patch roofs with not having to replace them with the levy, that kind of thing. That kind of helps us catch up. But really, it's a large capital investment over time. And when I mean over time, over decades of how we start to bend that curve back.
Right. Can you remind me when we passed our last parks bond?
2014, it was $68 million. 10 million of it just went to Pioneer Courthouse Square. So the rest of the city received $58 million. And to be honest, we have a $2 billion asset class. It's not enough.
Sure.
And I'll note that those green bars actually reflect a lot of that spending, as well as capital set aside and Build Portland.
That was one of my questions.
And I'll also add that we're actually in the final project of that 2014 bond. So it took us a while to pay it down, but I venture to guess that we could use $68 million a year to catch up.
And so moving forward, as the bond sunsets, we expect these bars, are we going to, moving forward, is the gap between what we should be spending and what we're actually spending? Or
Yeah, we would expect it to grow if that's where you're
in your
going.
proposed budget, is the gap getting bigger or skinnier?
We expect that gap, those green bars will continue to taper off. Our only sustainable capital funding source right now is the $4.7 million we received from the general fund. So that would taper off. So without any capital set aside infusions, or any future phases of Build Portland, that $4.8 million would be the base.
Okay, thank you. Lots of stuff we could dig in, but I'll hand it back to my colleagues.
To follow up on that, Commissioner Maps, you're bringing up a good point. And I look to you, Tim. Would you say this 3% capital investment target based on portfolio value, is that something you would we could also use in any bureau?
I believe the
infrastructure bureau?
standard is, I think Michael Jordan talked about it a little bit during his presentation, is 5%.
There he is.
So as you can see here, if you're able to do 3%, it'd be an improvement, right? But they're not even able to do that, so.
Right. And so this is a citywide, I mean, you're
I'm
bringing
pretty
in
sure
something.
that
Parks has
5%
an indicator,
is
which is
standard.
probably a performance indicator we could have for all of our bureaus, so we get to the bottom of the problem.
And on that, it's citywide, but it's also nationwide. I mean, this is not, or failure to reinvest in infrastructure is something that I think we're struggling with as a nation. So I think that the conversation we started with council back in 2019 when we had the first Sustainable Future work session, it's really been sort of an ongoing discussion, and one that we're sort of building on from, the citywide asset management group that's been sort of bringing these numbers to council for at least a decade, the 15 years that I've been in the city. So I think it's a well understood problem, and I think that we're eager to keep working with council to figure out how to solve it.
Great. Thanks for indulging in that conversation. And Commissioner Ryan's is right, and staff is right. This problem you can find throughout the city, including in my own bureaus, although some bureaus do better than others. And I do recall it also depends on the kind of bureau that you're running. I think we heard Mike tell us that if you're doing technology stuff, you probably want to be replacing. You probably want to spend like 20% a year replacing stuff. I'll just, and I'm a guy with, over at Peabody, I got $4 billion in maintenance backlogs. Other bureaus have similar problems. It's going to take, given the scale of the problem, it's going to take a generation to fix. But at some point, I think council needs to begin the work of getting these two trend lines to cross.
One follow-up comment on that. I mean, I think this council could certainly consider whether we want to amend the charter and mandate that there's capital set aside. It may not be at the 3%, but I think that's worthy discussion for this council over the next 21 months, if that's something we want to hardwire in the charter. Two strategic planning questions. When we're looking at assets outside of city, city lines, the city border, what's kind of the thinking with the future of those assets? Is that, does Parks want to continue to be outside the city border or not? Where does Metro play in that, or other potential partners who might manage those assets or collaborate on them? I'm just curious kind of what's the thinking at a strategic level right now.
Yeah. So the kind of two bigger ones, one is Red Tail Golf Course. That's part of the Golf Enterprise Fund, so it doesn't receive any tax subsidy support. It's run kind of like a business, pays all for expenses, and it's on the hook for the capital maintenance replacement as well. So while it's on that map, it's not on the backs of a future bond or the general fund. The Springwater corridor that goes out, we try to work with our adjacent jurisdictions there to try to take them on, to have them, encourage them to do grants, federal, state, or local grants to fix up the trail, because they have a vested interest in having a thriving Springwater trail that's going through their neighborhoods and their cities as well. However, we don't have a legislative kind of requirement on them to do that. So it's really a partnership. At the end of the day, it rests on us.
Okay. Maybe that segues to the last question. As we're thinking about capital needs over the next decade for parks, are there, in your mind, material barriers to attracting partners? Does the city take positions on any particular issue that makes it harder to work with private players or other government parties to partner on long-term investment in the city?
I feel like we've been really supported here in the city of Portland to have public-private partnerships and multi-sectoral partnerships. We have everything from the Japanese garden that has a long-term ground lease to partners that are in management agreements like Pioneer Courthouse Square to license agreements. City Attorney's Office has been really supportive in that. There's a lot of appetite for that in Portland, and so it's really about the capacity of the City Attorney's Office to support us in that work and making sure we have the right skilled staff at the parks team or in the city to negotiate those arrangements. But otherwise, there's a lot of opportunity for that.
Got it. Thank you.
Can I do one more, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go for it.
Can we look at the slide that shows tree canopy cover on the west side and the east side? Okay, Director Long, I know the answer, but I'll ask. Director Long, what's our goal for tree canopy coverage for the city? Do you know? Or do you remember off the top of your head?
I really don't know.
It's 33%.
I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it's 33%. And you can see on the east side, we're not achieving that. And I guess as I look at this map in particular, it makes me wonder if we've broken down our tree canopy goals by finer geographic measurements. Here, you know, depending on the parts of the east side, you can have different experiences, but it seems like it would make sense to set goals almost at a census tract level. Which would then, I think, map pretty well into some of the stuff that Commissioner Rubio does in planning and zoning and all that sort of stuff. So as we move forward with that important goal and talk about the tree canopy in future conversations, I'd love to hear the current thinking on that space. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'm done for this part of the presentation.
Thanks.
Do you want me to add to that, or?
Sure, you got something?
Well, just that I know the urban forestry team at Parks has been looking at different kind of spatial analysis of what's available in development with trees. And we could get closer, maybe more to like 50% coverage. So from a design perspective, that's possible maybe. And so you're saying like be more localized. We have the heat mapping of where the trees are, where the low canopy neighborhoods are. We put that over on census tract, so we do that already. So then it's about kind of coming together as a community to have the right design of saying, actually, we could get 50% in low canopy neighborhoods. That's actually physically possible. But we're not set up that way. We haven't dialed it all in yet, but urban forestry is entering planning stage over the next 12 to 24 months here with community and council, and kind of that's what we need to land.
Great. Well, I don't know all the dynamics around this, but certainly PBOT is implicated to some degree. We'd love to be partners with you in this space, and certainly as we think about the opportunities that are presented by charter reform, like this is like a great policy area where I think breaking down barriers between the bureaus could be promising. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I promise I will quit.
Great. I don't want to bring up a sore subject, but light posts. Yeah, we've had plenty of conversations about this, so I won't revisit those. But when might we see a plan for replacement of the lighting in our parks?
We expect to be back at council on April 5th to request your approval for the procurement for that to move forward. We've been working under kind of the emergency authorities, city procurement office since late December. So that will ask for your authorization to replace all the light poles, 243, I believe there are.
Okay.
And then
if council moves forward, when would we see those poles replaced?
unfortunately, the order time is 6 months, but as soon as we start receiving them after 6 months, we'll be installing them as we receive them.
So they would be in place for next winter, for the shorter days next winter, is that correct?
That's right. And under guidance from Director Long and Commissioner Ryan, we're going to try to sync up the removal of the light poles as close to the installation as possible.
Fabulous, that's what I want to hear. Thank you, I appreciate it. Is this discussion only about parks, or can I ask?
No, we have, our colleagues are coming up for the rest of the.
Okay, great. Well, I guess while you're all sitting here, do we have other questions for the Parks Bureau? Could you just reiterate for us, I mean, it's fun talking about the long-term strategies and the capital asset needs and all that. Can you tell us, for this budget cycle, what's foremost in your mind that you want this council to know?
Well, clearly, we don't have an ask on the table for any general fund, but I would say that sort of our challenges around the deferred maintenance continue. Our desire to find sustainable financing and funding for both operating and capital is really forefront in our mind. Yeah, I would say those two things. Yeah, anything
Good.
to add?
I know Portlanders want their swim lessons. We hear them. And so if you know anyone that would be wants to be a lifeguard, we're hiring.
Yes.
Because we had your support to raise the salaries of those workers, essential workers, really. They saved a life, someone just this past month, our lifeguards. That we'd love to have them. We have more people coming back from last summer because of those raised salaries. And so help us spread the word, hire lifeguards.
Is there a way we could sweeten the pot there, given that we're going to need lifeguards? Do they have to come to you already certified with their WSI, or are you prepared to train people
We are
when they
training
come in the door?
people. We're paying them while they're being trained.
Great.
We're doing
Training
all
them
the
at night,
things.
on weekends, like, what, yeah.
Terrific, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
And what's the age requirement?
Well, we have kind of a entry-level program all the way down to 14 to be part of our recreation team. They won't be lifeguards right away, but they'll be learning how we work as an organization, learning about us as an organization, more like an internship, and then 15, 16-year-olds can become lifeguards.
Best job I ever had.
Awesome.
And your daughter. See, it's that simple.
She'd think about it, yeah.
And we take adults too. I've got a neighbor down the street. She's 70 years old, and she lifeguards part-time. So
It's a great gig for teachers.
And I think you heard it earlier, we are going to focus on our central area plazas and squares.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. Great, thank you.
Break.
Oh, yes. We want to break. Actually, before we go to break, I see Lisa sitting in the back. And Lisa, we don't really have a general fund overlay with you. And so do we need Lisa to stay any longer?
She's a part of the team, so we'd
Would you
like
like
her
to
to
stay?
stay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Terrific. Why don't we take a 10-minute break? Is that sufficient? We'll reconvene at 20 minutes till. Thank you all.
Recording stopped.
a little bit. Kevin, I forgot to call on you and ask you if, as a citizen budget advisor, if you had any questions or thoughts that you wanted to share.
I think he may have gone off, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, he did? We lost him?
Yeah.
His camera's not on, but he's
Oh, I see him.
Still there?
Okay.
Okay, I don't have my computer.
Yeah, he's probably just grabbing a glass of water.
He's pretty good about jumping in.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, great.
All right, welcome back. The Office of Community and Civic Life connects the people of Portland with their city government. Our programs create a culture of collaboration, expanding possibilities for all Portlanders to contribute to their knowledge, experience, and creativity to address local concerns and make life better in the city we all call home. Next slide. An important strategic focus this past 2 years has been Civic Life's Portland Engagement Project. This is a citywide effort to work with community to design a more equitable engagement model for the city of Portland. We know that engaged neighbors make their neighborhood safer and healthier. We need an engagement model that builds on our current model and expands to reach those that have been historically left out of this process. People experiencing poverty, immigrants and refugees, and other vulnerable members of our community. Portland has evolved in the 50 years since we last built our last engagement model. The work of PEP will be informed by current best practices and Portland demographic data to build upon the past success of the neighborhood-based model and once again make Portland a leader in community engagement. The Bureau is also focused on education and community building by promoting trainings, events, and resources for all Portlanders in order to reduce vulnerability and increase community collaboration. Our work is also at the front line of economic recovery. For Portland at large to recover, we need to focus on the economic recovery of our 94 neighborhoods and the people living in them. As an example, our Neighborhood Small Grants and Sponsorship Fund provides grants to community-based organizations to help them put on events, activities, and projects that strengthen community and build inclusion and support engagement. One example of this is our East Portland grantee, Division Midway Alliance. They are using the small grant that they were awarded to design an intro to booking workshop for Spanish and Arabic-speaking business owners. The grant will fund translations and interpretations for online workshops, cover staff time, and provide honoraria to participants attending the session. Civic Life also provides grant programs and resource opportunities to help Portlanders on the poverty line reduce vulnerability and the risk of homelessness. An example of this work would be our Cannabis Emergency Relief Fund, also known as CERF, which provided an important financial lifeline for cannabis businesses and workers who are left out of the federal aid efforts due to federal cannabis prohibition. This groundbreaking relief fund was approved by City Council and made Portland the first jurisdiction in the country to allocate cannabis tax revenue to help businesses and workers endure the impact of robberies, historic wildfires, and COVID-19. We have heard from grantees that this money helped them pay their rent, pay groceries, and keep the lights on. Businesses were able to continue paying employee salaries and providing health insurance. Next slide. This slide shows a high-level organizational chart for Civic Life. The Bureau is currently divided into 4 main service areas. The first is Community and Neighborhood Involvement Center, which includes neighborhoods, immigrants and refugee, diversity and civic leadership, advisory boards and commission, mental health, Multnomah Youth Commission, constructing civic dialogues, and disability program. The second service area is administration, which includes business operations and communications. The last 2 include liquor, noise, and cannabis, which will transition to the Development Bureau and Prosper Portland on April 1st. These transfers will reduce our FTEs from 44.6 to 26.2 and better align our workforce to deliver on our core mission. Next slide.
Thank you, PJ. Mayor, Commissioners, good afternoon. My name is Murad Radbi. I'm the Partnership and Equity Manager in the Office of Community and Civic Life. I use he, him as pronouns. So I'll be presenting a slide that demonstrates Civic Life's revenue of $13.9 million about 20 basis point or 0.2% of the city's entire budget. In future budget cycles, we hope council will reassess how and how much we invest in the city's commitment to community engagement. We want to call out that our advisory bodies and commission program, in addition to our mental health program, are internal facing, meaning that their services are designed for and delivered to city employees. The funding for these two programs come from the general fund overhead. Next slide, please. As far as our expenses, they're pretty straightforward. 6.4 million, for personnel, 6.4 million for external materials and services, and 1.3 million for internal materials and services. In addition, our expenses include realignments for two programs that recently transferred out of Civic Life Bureau. The graffiti program recently transferred to the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability, and the realignment of funds include $710,000 of personnel, internal and external materials, and 2.0 full-time equivalent adjustment. The other program is the community safety one, recently transferred to the Office of Management and Finance, and the realignment of funds, including $139,929 in internal materials. Next slide, please. The Office of Community and Civic Life will transfer the regulatory teams of cannabis, liquor, and noise to the Bureau of Development Services and Prosper Portland in order to place similar services areas together. This will result in a budget deficit of approximately $400,000 as the cannabis program funded broader programs within the Bureau. The Office of Community and Civic Life has been directed as part of a 90-day resolution to work with the Office of Equity and Human Rights to conduct an equity assessment of our current neighborhoods associations and engagement framework. This is completely aligned with Civic Life's citywide engagement system renewal project, namely the Portland Engagement Project. Civic Life has worked hard to build a broad base of supporters for the Portland Engagement Project, enrolling employees, neighborhood associations and districts, grantees, and especially Portlanders who do not regularly engage with the city. The Portland Engagement Projects require the carryover of remaining funds in its multi-year special project budget. We therefore carried over $577,459 for external materials and services, and we have encumbered contracts of $530,115, leaving about $47,344 to carry over for personnel and new external materials and services next year. Any unspent funds in the $530,000 and 115 contracts will be carried over to continue those contracts until they are fully executed, as it is a multi-year engagement project. To continue our neighborhood-based work, we will need additional funding to preserve the workforce and continue our equity-forward grant-making and service delivery. The Office of Community and Civic Life supported our Neighborhood Association District Coalition's offices with one-time general fund support. In the 23-24 fiscal year, Civic Life will redirect a portion of its leadership development grants to rectify the constraint on the general fund request, in the amount of $535,530. I'll now pass it to Jeff Selby to discuss the Office of Equity.
Unless we want to do questions
first.
Yeah.
Can we do a couple of questions here?
You bet. Jump in.
Thank you. Let's stay on the key challenges slide if we could. I'm not sure if I tracked how you make up that $400,000 deficit that comes when you move the cannabis program out of Civic Life. How does that work?
Yeah, great question. So actually, cannabis represented 23% of Civic Life overall budget. And if we look at the operating capital, now that the Bureau is moving, because it's policy related, outside of Civic Life, that's the impact of losing cannabis on the other departments of the Bureau, because we used about like $250,000 to pay for personnel and about $150,000 for interagencies funding.
Is that a problem? I fully understand the implications. What are the implications of that operationally?
The implications are the cannabis program is moving out, but we have some other folks in other teams outside of cannabis for whom their specific positions were funded through the cannabis program. And also the rent, for instance, for Civic Life.
Yeah, I used to work in Civic Life, so I kind of remember
okay.
that cannabis kind of subsidized some of the other stuff. So when cannabis moves out and they take their money with them, does that create a fiscal problem inside what's left of the Bureau?
Yes, we do have a budget shortfall. We're trying to offset it with our reallocation of grant making from our DCLs into our small grant program. And so that's where we get the $400,000, $500,000 to offset that.
Which leads to one of my second questions. How's civic engagement around that proposal going? Are you getting feedback from the DCLs around that shift?
Nothing from them, but from the neighborhood associations where we're shifting the funding to, they're all extremely happy.
Great.
The DCLs can still apply for small grants as well.
Okay. Great. I've kind of lost track. Where's the disability program now? Is it still in Civic Life?
Currently, we do have a funding for disability headcount. It has been on hold for about 18 months. We're currently looking at where we align our disability with the disability headcount in Office of Equity and seeing where there's duplication and where we can align those missions.
So is that it? So is the disability program in Civic Life, are you saying it's kind of not staffed at the moment? Is that?
Has not been staffed for 18 months.
Okay.
But we're looking to use that headcount to further the disability cause, but we're also looking at it, how we can strengthen what is happening in the Office of Equity.
Sure. Okay. I didn't realize that. And I don't say this to Civic Life. I say this to my colleagues on council. Serving the disability community is a space that historically we've struggled with. Me over at Peabody, I've lost some lawsuits that have been very expensive in this space, and I think there are probably other lawsuits around this space moving that are churning through the system. It's might be penny wise, but pound foolish for us to ignore this space. I don't put all the responsibility for that in the Office of Civic Life. That is, I think, a city responsibility, and it just historically has tended to live over in there. No. Okay, so what is the neighborhood? What's inside the neighborhood livability program at this point? What is that?
In that first bucket,
Yeah.
we have the neighborhood associations
Okay.
and the outreach to that, immigrants and refugee, the diversity and civic leadership, advisory bodies and commissions,
Okay.
the mental health policy, Multnomah Youth Commission, constructing civic dialogues, and the disability program.
Okay. Thank you very much. Colleagues, I got no more questions.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Kevin, did you have any questions at this point?
No, not at this time, just,
Okay, just wanted to check in, thanks.
all right, thanks.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and Mayor Wheeler. We'll talk about the Office of Equity and Human Rights now. The Office of Equity and Human Rights leads the City of Portland's commitment to equity. Next slide, please. This slide features a photo of two Office of Equity and Human Rights colleagues working in an office setting. The Office of Equity and Human Rights was created by a City Council resolution sparked by a mandate from communities of color and a thoughtful, meaningful community engagement process. The community mandate was to work internally to, quote, get the city's house in order in terms of equity. Now, while that mandate is still our driving force, the office is working with Commissioner Ryan's office to examine how we can also grow our capacity to provide more external equity leadership and guidance. The Office of Equity sets the equity vision and goals for the City of Portland. Much of our work is rooted in a framework based on city and state policies and federally mandated laws such as Civil Rights Title VI and Americans with Disabilities Act ADA Title II. Same slide, actually. This month marks the 11th anniversary of the Office of Equity. Ours was the second city government in the nation to specifically focus on equity in the country. Along with Seattle, Portland helped spark national momentum in the Governing for Racial Equity movement. Next slide, please. This slide features a photo of two colleagues collaborating on a project. The Office of Equity holds the city government accountable by providing leadership and developing policies, practices, and procedures that remove institutional barriers, increase equitable access to city government, and improve outcomes for systemically excluded and institutionally oppressed Portland communities, creating a city government that works better for everyone. We lead our citywide work with a focus on racial, disability, language, and LGBTQIA2S+ equity. The acronym LGBTQIA2S+ includes people who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and/or gender expansive, queer and/or questioning, intersex, asexual, and two-spirit. Next slide, please. This slide includes an organizational chart, which I'll describe. The office has 7 categories of concentration carried out by 23 employees. The categories and programs are business operations and administration, which includes financial analysis, administration support, and communications. I will add that this is the first year we've had a dedicated financial analyst on staff. It's something that is way long overdue, and we're lucky to have Douglas Imaralu on our team, who started about a week before the budget was due this year. Black Male Achievement is a community-centered external program focusing on removing unique barriers faced by young black men and boys. Technical support and policy consulting includes the Small Bureau's Equity Manager, LGBTQIA2S+ policy work, and the Diverse Empowered Employees of Portland, or DEEP, Employee Resource Group program. It's a lot of alliteration. Our equity training and education program is responsible for developing citywide equity training, including Racial Equity 101, which is mandatory for all city staff, the ADA Title II and Disability Equity, Civil Rights Title VI and Equity, and Language Access Program staff advises and guides City Council, bureau leaders, and staff on the impact and mandates of those federal laws, which allows the city to move toward more equitable service delivery and outcomes, and also mitigate that legal risk that Commissioner Mapps alluded to earlier. Next slide, please. This slide shows a pie chart illustrating the following. Let's talk about our budget. The Office of Equity is mostly funded by the general fund, but as seen in the chart, we occasionally receive some resources from other sources, interagency agreements, grants, charges for services, and the like. As you may know, the general fund overhead model is used to allocate the cost of the city's central service functions and activities that benefit or are used by several city bureaus. For the Office of Equity, this includes our work related to ADA Title II and Civil Rights Title VI, language access, training and education, policy and technical assistance, the Diverse and Empowered Employees of Portland program, and overall administration and support. In total, the fiscal year 23-24 requested budget includes $2.1 million in general fund overhead resources and $1.4 million in general fund discretionary funding. Next slide, please. Our expenses are simple. Our staff are the most important piece of our operations, so general fund resources go mostly to staff costs with some materials and services, and charges from other bureaus, mostly the Office of Management and Finance. Next slide, please. Our key challenges continue to include citywide compliance with Civil Rights Title VI and Americans with Disabilities Act ADA Title II. Failure to comply will not only cause harm to community members, but will also expose the city to potential lawsuits. Meeting and exceeding compliance requirements of these federal laws will have a profound effect on removing systemic barriers for people of color, immigrants, refugees, and people with disabilities. Some of our staff positions are classified lower than similar roles in other bureaus. Pay classifications have been a burden on staff morale and have increased turnover historically. We have no new decision packages to bring forward, but we do have some one-time funding issues. The Office of Equity and Human Rights is requesting carryover funding for the $350,000 that was designated by Council to hire a consultant to conduct an ADA Title II self-evaluation. The federally mandated self-evaluation was last done in the late 1990s. Due to a lack of dedicated procurement support in the Office of Equity and other bureaucratic hurdles, we were unable to receive contract support and post a request for proposal until late last year. We are now scheduled to review those proposals this month and anticipate a contract in place by June 1st. The Title VI and ADA Title II investigator position is essential for serving community and mitigating risk and vulnerability that was outlined in a 2021 city audit. The Equity Strategies Analyst position at the Office of Equity is essential in designing the citywide racial equity plans process and shepherding each bureau through plan design and accountability. The scope of work for the Equity Strategies Analyst position addresses critical one-time and ongoing needs, although the position only has one-time funding that is scheduled to sunset in fiscal year 24-25. The analyst is also a critical member of the citywide American Rescue Plan Delivery Team, which supports overall compliance and successful delivery of local fiscal recovery funds for the City of Portland, ensuring that equity is centered throughout the process. Rates conflict among city staff citywide. And that's it for the Office of Equity and Human Rights presentation. Are there any questions?
I have a couple. And they're largely kind of high-level questions. Can you help me think about the difference between the work that OEHR does and the work that HR does? Like, why aren't you kind of a subset of HR?
Traditionally, the organizations like the Office of Equity and Human Rights also keep organizations like Human Resources accountable for a lot of the work that we do and that we're charged to make sure that is happening in the city.
Okay. Do you have any key KPIs, as we say in the budget space?
We do. As I mentioned earlier, this is the first time in 11 years that we've had a dedicated financial analyst. We've had to rely on the generosity of other bureaus to provide us folks here and there to prepare budgets and things like that. But we have not had the advantage of having someone like Douglas on board to help us really come up with those performance metrics that truly tell the story of what we do in the Office of Equity and Human Rights. We've had metrics before that measured things, but really didn't tell the full story of what we were doing. And we are going to be working with our financial analyst and also the city budget office to really improve those metrics to make sure that we're measuring the right things and that we're telling the right story of the work that the Office of Equity does.
Great. Well, I want to congratulate you for stealing Douglas from the budget office. I've been in dialogue with Douglas about the city budgets for as long as I've been here. Pretty much smart guy who's going to make the Bureau much better. And I'll tell you also, Douglas and Director, I think of OEHR as being one of the tools that we use to help shape the employee experiences here in the city of Portland, especially the experience of employees of color. And I think it's no secret that every quantitative and qualitative measure that we have around the sense of satisfaction that our employees of color have about the work they do here underperforms or consistently underperforms. So I'd love, as we move forward to with this office as it grows and whatnot, I'd be great to have a clear sense of what piece of that problem you are picking up. And then I think council needs to sort of give you the support to help our employees feel valued and supported. Probably my last question on this one is, help me understand the difference between the disability program in OEHR and the disability program in Civic Life.
I'm afraid I can't speak to the ADA program in Civic Life. I know that our work is really rooted in the compliance of that federal law to ensure that we're serving community in a way we're supposed to, and to keep us out of legal risk as well. So I could tell you about our work. I just don't know that much about Civic Life's work.
Sure, and instead of drawing this out, I'm calling Civic Life back up at the table. I'll just state a hypothesis. I think there are potentials for synergy here, especially since the Civic Life's disability program appears to be not staffed at this point. And as we move, oh, here we go. Do you want to come in and educate me? That's fine.
Be a little bit of a repeat from last session or last year.
No, we completely agree that there needs to be some synergy. Absolutely. I think there's been a little bit of odd duplication between the two bureaus. And as we're looking forward, we absolutely should be looking at where we can align resources.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. And actually, Commissioner Ryan, you're in the perfect position to take a look at this interesting policy opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah, that's why we're reorganizing. Yeah.
Sure. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I think I'm done with my questions for this bureau.
Thanks, Commissioner. I want to jump on the Commissioner Mapp's bandwagon here, but go to the other side, which is the bureau level. And ultimately where I hope we go is bureaus themselves will hold themselves accountable because it's the right thing to do and because they need to comport with the law. And so I've always been a little confused as to why council created a separate entity to provide leadership and guidance on what should be integrated into the leadership of our bureaus and the delivery of our services, as well as supporting our employees. And I feel like you've done a good job, in particular, Director Selby, of navigating that space. But it's obvious to me that there's disconnects that are structural, that you did not create. You are operating in the environment which you were given. But there are those opportunities for synergy, as Commissioner Mapp said, in HR, also in legal, as well as at the bureau director level, as well as in other bureaus like the Office of Community and Civic Life. And that has never been rationalized to my satisfaction. Then there's the question of at the bureau level. There's a lot of diversity and equity related employees in some of our larger bureaus in particular, but spread throughout the city. And it's not clear to me who has authority over what and who has responsibility over what. And I know under your leadership, you've been meeting with those individuals at the bureau level, and it's my understanding that the communication and the collaboration is greatly improved, but there's still an unresolved authority question, right? And,
yes.
And we run into that from time to time at the council level as well. But I hope as we think about what the next steps are, and I know Commissioner Ryan has this on his radar, are we really organized the right way? Are we being as effective as we can? Are we being as cost effective as we can? We've heard every single bureau say our cost structure is eating us alive, even with nearly record revenues.
Right.
And so I'd really like you guys to dig deep and be innovative and thoughtful, and we have new people here who can maybe look at the problem from a different perspective and give us some fresh insights. And so short way of applauding you for the work you've done and continuing to encourage you to go farther, perhaps even a lot farther.
Thank you, Mayor. We're certainly buoyed by the attention that we've been getting and the support we've been getting from Commissioner Ryan and his staff. The 90-day resolution, the assessment, all that is great news for us, as we certainly want to look at ways and how we can increase our capacity and leadership and authority in the city. We certainly, that mandate has never gone away, and we want to make sure we can do it the best way we can, and we're certainly feeling that support from Commissioner Ryan.
Yeah, and he's, in my communications directly with him, he's very focused on this. I hate talking about you in the third person, sorry, Dan, but it's
like
good.
it.
It's all nice stuff. And so I would really like us to make progress on this before we turn this over to a potentially much larger, well, definitely a much larger and potentially very different council on January 1st, 2025. I'd like us to resolve some of those conflicts as we move to a new form of government.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I think our reorg statement is being affirmed and confirmed, and we have a lot of support for it. So let's keep going.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good work.
Thank you. Up next, we have the Director of the Portland Children's Levy, Lisa Pellegrino.
again. So the Portland Children's Levy, I know you have listened to my presentation just a month ago on the reauthorization of the levy, but our mission is to increase opportunity for all Portland's children by supporting community-based programs that help prepare children for school, support them to be successful in and out of school, and also eliminate racial and ethnic disparities in children's outcomes. So equity is at the center of our mission. Next slide, please. So our strategic focus is to continue supporting the 51 community-based organizations and 87 programs that are provided to historically marginalized children and families in this next year. These organizations and programs were a lifeline for many families during the pandemic. They organized a massive emergency response, including frontline support for children and families that were participating in online school for the first time. As this pandemic eases, finally, and programs have returned to in-person services supporting children and families, we want to make sure that those programs get continued support so that we can recover from this pandemic effects on children and schools, which you are all well aware of. In the coming year, PCL is also going to work with a newly formed community council to inform broader community engagement planning and the next competitive funding process if the levy is renewed by voters in May. The community council was formed in response to community engagement feedback that we received in 2020. PCL worked with Civic Life's advisory board program to recruit diverse community members to serve on this council. All council members are from or have experience working with Black, Indigenous, and communities of color. 11 of the 12 are from or have worked with families experiencing poverty and food insecurity. 8 are from or have worked with immigrant and refugee communities. 6 are from or have worked with LGBTQIA+ communities. 4 have or worked with youth with disabilities, and 4 have worked with houseless families. So they are an excellent representative group prepared to advise us. Next slide, please. I'm going to ask John to review the finances for the Children's Levy.
Thanks, Lisa. Good afternoon. I'm John Kelly, he, him pronouns. Children's Levy staff is comprised of 7 people who work 6.4 FTE, full-time equivalent. We have a director and assistant director who are both also grant managers, and then we have 2 other grant managers, communications director, community engagement coordinator, and a financial analyst. Next slide, please. This is our revenue picture. We project having a total of $24.8 million in revenue next year. $24.4 million will be tax revenue. About $400,000 will be a fund transfer from the Parks Levy to offset its compression of our revenues. Not shown in the slide is an additional $10.7 million in fund balance that we project having available on July 1st, 2023. Fund balance accumulates when revenues exceed the projections on which multi-year grants were based and when grantees underspend budgets, which has been happening a lot lately. Fund balance is being spent down over time to keep community services funded at consistent levels. Next slide, please. Expenses. Budgeted expenses will total approximately $28.6 million next year. Grant budgets are budgeted at $27.2 million of those dollars. That's 95% of budgeted spending. Personnel and all non-grant spending will be approximately $1.5 million. Next slide, please. As was mentioned, levy reauthorization was referred to voters by City Council for the May 2023 ballot. The current levy expires at the end of next fiscal year, June 30, 2024. Projected levy resources are sufficient to maintain the current grant investment level, including increases for cost of living adjustments. The levy's allocation committee will consider potential 2-year grant renewals for currently funded grantees at their April 2023 meeting. And the allocation committee grant renewal recommendations from that meeting will be presented to City Council for your review and approval in May of 2023, likely after the vote. Funding for grants in fiscal year 2025, the second of those 2 years, is clearly dependent on levy reauthorization. Lisa, next slide, please.
Yeah. So key challenges. Levy grantee partners have reported significant challenges with pandemic-related staffing vacancies and staff turnover. Stable, trained, high-quality staffing is a key element in relationship-based programs that are funded by the levy for children and families. Many organizations have increased wages or have offered other incentives to attract and keep staff. And as program costs rise, the levy may need to adjust contract requirements accordingly. This may result in fewer children served in future years. I guess I'll pause there for questions before I hand it off to the arts group.
Who are you handing it off to next?
The arts and culture group.
Arts.
Jeff Hawthorne.
Okay, I got it. Quick question. can you give me a quick primer on how the children's levy, the parks levy, and compression interact?
It's a little more of the city economists, fiefdom. Maybe CBO could.
No,
I could say something, but you all could say something.
I
as
would
well.
need to get back to you with an answer on that.
I mean,
Claudia?
Yep, basically each new local option levy, we all get compressed first. Permanent levies get compressed next. Go ahead, Claudio.
Yeah, no, was the question specifically about Claudio Campuzano, Portland Parks and Recreation? Was the question specifically around the interaction of the two, or local options in general?
As a case study, why don't we focus in on parks, the parks levy, the children's levy, compression, and how they interact, and how we've responded to that interaction.
Right. So, as John was mentioning, when compression acts on individual properties, it'll compress away the local options first. And so, when parks went forward with our local option levy, we worked with the children's levy to make sure that we actually made them whole, because they would see the most compression, because they would be compressed first at those properties that are experiencing compression. It is on a property by property basis, so generally you have mostly properties in East Portland and Southwest that are in compression. Most of the rest of Portland doesn't experience compression because of the sort of divergence of assessed value and real market value since the mid-90s. But yeah, so you know, we've worked with them to make sure that that the parks levy doesn't impact the capacity of the children's levy to deliver service.
Thank you. I will confess, and I'll say it to staff, I probably have been briefed on this general policy space 5 times since I've been here. I think I still don't fully get it. Part of my homework for the time I still have on this council is to kind of understand how these important funding mechanisms interact. But I'm not going to drag you guys through.
I can try one more clarification.
Sure.
So the property tax limitation is on real market value.
Okay.
So for general government, that goes to $10 per thousand. And so, but that's on real market value. And so while assessed value has been going up, we actually tax well beyond the $10 per thousand, but most properties are not in compression because their real market value is well above that assessed value. And so your compression happens when real market value and assessed value are closer together, because then when you go above that $10 per thousand of taxation, you're actually starting to, some of those properties are going to experience that compression on their real market value. Does that help to kind of?
Not really.
Okay.
But,
Peter Holtzman's going to have to draw it out for you then.
I very much appreciate your effort there, and it's late in the day for me, and I'm a little dense, but I'm committed to getting smarter, and I appreciate the presentation. Mr. Mayor, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you. Anybody else on this? Kevin?
All right.
Thank you.
Pastor Jeff Hawthorne.
Arts guy.
Last section. Jeff Hawthorne, City Arts Program Manager. This is what we do at the City Arts Program. We celebrate creativity in all its forms so that communities can connect, companies can flourish, and students can succeed in school and in life. We support Portland's arts and culture ecosystem and expand opportunities for all Portlanders to participate in creative experiences. Next slide, please. So the City Arts Program is currently 2 people, soon to be 3 people, including myself, plus 0.1 FTE for the Manager of External Programs and Partnerships in the CAO's office. Next slide, please. We project having a total of $4.7 million in revenue in fiscal year 23-24, including $4.6 million in special appropriations general fund revenue. Approximately $145,000 will be a fund transfer from the Revenue Division to support the new Arts Education Coordinator as directed by a recent ordinance. Next slide, please. Our personnel costs in 23-24 include the new arts education coordinator that I just mentioned, who will manage arts education services in Portland's 6 school districts that participate in the Arts Education and Access Fund. They will help us improve oversight of voter investments and strengthen collaboration between school districts and among arts teachers. But the vast majority of the city arts budget, the external materials and services slice in blue, goes to the Regional Arts and Culture Council and other partners who provide arts and culture grants and services in our community. As the Commissioner mentioned in his opening remarks, we are assessing these contracts for impact and performance and will identify opportunities for improvement. Next slide, please. Just a few financial-related challenges to bring to your attention. First, as you can see here, many of Portland's arts and cultural organizations are chronically underfunded. Through our cultural planning process, which is now underway, we intend to bring you more data to illustrate this problem and to recommend some solutions. In addition, our performing arts facilities, which are owned by the city and managed by Metro, are aging. You may have read that the Keller Auditorium has structural issues and will need to be renovated or replaced in the coming years to remain a safe and viable venue. Lastly, I should mention that the Arts Education and Access Fund, commonly known as the Arts Tax, which was approved by Portland voters in 2012, is not benchmarked for inflation, so it has declining purchasing power every year. So that concludes my segment and all segments of our presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions, or to close, Commissioner Ryan, I know, has a few remarks. Thank you.
Let's see if there's any questions first for the arts program.
Quick question on the arts tax. Maybe there's multiple questions here, but so those dollars do they flow through your budget, or are they earmarked to go directly to school districts and RAC? I'm just trying to understand the flow of those funds.
The latter. The Revenue Bureau distributes directly to the school districts first, then a small portion to the City Arts Program for that Arts Education Coordinator position, and then the balance, about $3 or $4 million a year, goes directly to the Regional Arts and Culture Council for them to invest as grants.
And maybe it's outside of, your responsibility, but is there a more efficient means to get revenue to flow through, to get support for those programs? I just, the arts tax it's not pegged to inflation. It's arguably a fairly regressive tax. It's very costly to collect relative to what it raises. I just wonder if it's seen its best days, and maybe we should find alternative ways to support the arts. I'm just curious on your thoughts.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's a question that comes up every few years. There are no current proposals on the table, but I wouldn't be surprised if we all started discussing some better solutions in the next year or two.
And is the cost of administering that tax is not borne by your department? That's in revenue, or?
That's correct.
Okay.
Revenue.
Got it. Thank you.
How often do we reassess the Regional Arts and Culture Council relationship?
Mayor, we usually reassess in a significant way every 3 or 4 years when it comes time to reassess the contract and perhaps rewrite the contract. However, Commissioner Ryan has asked us to do an assessment right now, and we are working on that and plan to deliver a report in the next month or so.
Yeah.
Great.
Although they are independent, we are taking that on.
I appreciate that, and I support that, so thank you, Commissioner Ryan. You mentioned, or somebody mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, that we own 1,500 artworks. Was that you?
Yeah, that was in reference to the Portable Works collection.
Who owns them?
The city and the county own these artworks. RAC manages them, and the city and county share the artworks. So that artworks purchased by the city of Portland might show up at a courthouse, or at a library, or at a fire station, or at City Hall.
Can I just ask a really dumb question? Why? Why do we own art?
Why do we own art?
Yes.
I think most cities take great pride in owning artwork and including artwork in their public spaces.
But they're not all public spaces.
Any artwork that is owned by the city of Portland is appearing in a public space. I think you've had questions before about whether
still
your
do. And
office is a public space.
Maybe I'm just asking the same question over and over again, but I hope that's part of the I mean, is it really for the community? I mean, is the community seeing all of this work? Are they aware of this work? Do they know how to access this work?
I think so. I think people know when they go into a public building, whether it's the Vanport building or your office, that they're going to see those great Native American artworks on the wall.
They could also be displayed in shops and restaurants, community spaces. They don't have to be in our offices. I mean, I'm just asking the question, and I hope I'm not stepping on a landmine, but we're in some real financial challenges here, and I just want to make sure we're using the taxpayers' money to its greatest effect. And when I hear that we own 1,500 artworks, that raises some questions in my mind.
Sure. And that artwork collection has been accumulated over the last 30 years, and most of it is paid for by the Percent for Art ordinance, not general fund money, but rather 2% of publicly funded capital construction projects go to the creation of public art, and usually there's some money left over, and we use that money to purchase artworks for the
All the
Portable
more
Works
reason
collection.
that it should be readily accessible to the people who pay the tax. I would just hope we take a hard look at that.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, but let's remember how important it is to make sure it's preserved and then it's safe. So I know you made some statements just a few minutes ago about sending it out to the community, but we'd have to really look at such a step like that to ensure that the art is preserved and taken care of. So
Yeah, no, I'll be honest. I haven't always, and don't get me wrong, there's some really great people at RAC, and there's some great board members, and I know they're diligent and they're trying, but it took years for anybody to respond to my push that we celebrate Native American art from this community, the way that Vancouver, British Columbia does, the way that Seattle, Washington does, and I feel like we were really slow to react to that. I sort of wondered why. I just wonder, is it the most effective strategy that we have in place to be responsive to the artistic needs and talents of the community?
Yeah, let's look into that.
Thank you.
Can I jump in with a couple
Absolutely.
of questions? Jeff, just building off of the mayor's inquiry. So can you tell us how, like, who buys the art? How does the city actually, when we get art, how does that come into our possession?
By code, we defer most of the purchasing decisions to the Regional Arts and Culture Council. They purchase the artwork, they frame the artwork, but the ownership vests to the city of Portland.
Got it.
Or Multnomah County in some cases.
Great. Thank you for that clarification. And I'll just share it up. I've thought about this space too, Mr. Mayor, Jeff. And it is an interesting arrangement that we have in terms of the public art that we own, in terms of when I look for metaphors or similar examples, I find myself thinking about the art collections that have been accumulated by institutions of higher education, and I've had some experience seeing institutions, colleges and universities think about how they manage their public arts or their art collections. And there's an interesting in the last 20 years, let's say, there's been an interesting history and developments in that space. And Jeff, I don't know if you've followed that to some degree, but it might be, if we're looking for metaphors or examples of how we might think about managing our art assets, I might point us to what college campuses have explored in recent decades. And the last question I have on this is, let's talk a little bit about the performing arts buildings that the city owns. Partly through my liaison work to the travel and tourism industry, it's been brought to my attention that many of these facilities are in rough shape, and we are not structurally in a good position to actually make the improvements that we need to make to these buildings. And I think we heard that there are plans afoot to at least come up with some options for managing these differently. Can you give us just a preview of what we could do to make this work better?
I would have to ask my colleague Carl Lyle to get back to you on that.
Okay. Well, I know, I'll tell you, one of the things I hear from the people who actually live and work in these spaces is there have been questions about whether or not the city is the proper owner here. I think some of these institutions might rather just actually own these in some form, which would allow them to kind of be more lean forward in terms of fundraising and other strategies for like fixing their sewers and whatnot. And Mr. Mayor, I got no more questions.
I don't know how to answer that question.
Get on it. Any more questions? I just have a conclusion here that I wanted to go through. First of all, thank you so much, all of you in the Cultural and Livability Leadership Team. I really appreciate you leaning in over the last couple months, seeing yourself as one cluster as we were given that assignment from the mayor. And I just feel very proud and honored that you accomplished that today. And so here's some closing thoughts that I have. First of all, I really appreciate the conversations today, the long-term organizational business model, especially with parks. I've been asking a lot of those same questions as I'm told to go down to Salem to lobby for this. And your questions sound like a few of the people I met with in Salem a couple weeks ago. And so thank you. I know that we have other cities, our neighbor up north, New York City, they're all Portland's constantly in the top 10 of the best park systems in the country. It's one of our precious assets. And if our city is going to continue to thrive, we know we have to protect them. So most of those cities that are on there also have districts. And so we just need to explore this and see if it should be a part of our toolbox. And that's what we just want that choice. Deferred maintenance conversations are always coming up. And so that was not lost on me today. And then I think also what we're doing is the movement of positions and what happens when you move the position. Not everything is transactional and easy, but these are all things that we're supposed to do as we prepare our city's organizational chart for a city manager. So it actually is, I think we're really leading the way in this work area to take that charge seriously and start to do that type of consolidation, that type of efficiencies, and more importantly, just leveraging the assets that we have in our respective bureaus. I also wanted to respond to what I heard the mayor's reference in the past 3 budget work sessions. There are significant and continuously increasing expenses by bureaus and offices within the city related to our response to homelessness. The impacts of those costs have not been clearly or holistically reflected, and there have not been clear messaging about how we are forced to rethink the overall budget going forward as a result of this impact on all of our budgets. I will share an example of how these expenses impact one of the city's largest bureaus, and that would be Parks and Recreation. For example, we have a 3-year agreement with Pioneer Courthouse Square for $475,000 per year for operations, rents, and permit fees. Last fiscal year, we paid an additional $89,000 in the fall bump to cover restroom maintenance and attendance. In addition, Travel Portland provided $50,000 for weekend restrooms. Through this city's special appropriations, $118,000 was provided for additional security. These additional funds have become necessary because these are the only restrooms publicly available downtown and are heavily used by our homeless population. It's like when we were talking about the service hubs and the importance of hygiene stations. Well, Pioneer Courthouse Square happens to be that currently. It wasn't planned or designed to be that. The reality in 2023 at this moment is that's what it is. In 21-22, we logged 222,000 in staff time tagged to transient cleanup. This is a very low estimate. These staff are folks taking care of developed parks on a daily basis. While our staffing has increased thanks to the levy, the work has changed, and we've seen a greater impacts of homelessness in and around our parks. Rangers are a partner on the citywide Street Services Coordination Center. Rangers have made 44% of all referrals within the SSCC to get folks into immediate shelter. Over 1,050 people living in our parks have been offered shelter by the Rangers, with over 130 accepting the offer. In addition, we've made the number of operating changes, including equipping our park rangers with safety vests and we've had to increase security at our various sites. Posted contracted security at Ross Island, Mount Tabor Yard, urban forestry at Delta Park, maintenance facilities, all have been posted security and is assigned also to outdoor pools. In 2021, we are having a break-in or theft at Portland Parks and Recreation facilities at least once per week. This includes damage or theft of Portland Parks and Recreational vehicles parked at our facilities. 3 of our sites, East Portland, Mount Scott, Charles Jordan, have been regularly activated over the past several years during extreme cold and extreme heat events. This is something we all pitch in and we do together, but we don't do a very good job of it talking about the impact of these expenses. The bigger impacts are for our families and children we serve, especially when activations happen, as they have in recent years. During out-of-school sessions, our families that rely on Portland Parks and Recreation's programming as part of managing childcare when school is out have not been able to access those services. I know, Director Long, you've told me this a couple times. It's really wonderful to share that news with my colleagues. These are just a few notable examples. I share the mayor's opinion that we need a clear picture of these costs and impacts from all of our bureaus and offices and programs. I will also formally request future work sessions to discuss these budget impacts and the shared citywide challenges we are experiencing while addressing the homeless crisis, specifically the way we partner with our partners at Multnomah County. Yes, we all need partners, including leadership from the county, at the same table, publicly discussing our roles and our commitment to the solution, and being fully transparent about the trade-offs when we are forced to make as we continue to problem solve within the limits of our city's resources and costs and assets. Again, I just want to pause right now to say thank you to the Cultural and Livability team. You represent over 2,000 employees, so if any of you are listening, this goes out to all 2,000 of you for sharing the clear picture of your challenges we face today. I hope those of you who serve our city on the ground, who didn't take a day off during COVID and kept showing up in person to serve our city, I thank you, and I hope you feel seen today. We meet with people where they live, where they play and work, and it's the core of our city's mission. Improving our direct services is important as we move away from a centralized model to a district system in the new charter. In fact, I think this practice area is a really good handoff to the new governance system as we enliven our neighborhood associations and all of our services that allow Portlanders to be seen and have access to City Hall, that we'll be moving more towards a district level. So finally, thank you to my colleagues for your thoughtful dialogue. As you know, I revel in the tension, and remaining focused on our city's top priorities should always have those type of transparent dialogues amongst ourselves. With that, I say thank you and for giving all of this team a wonderful chance to be seen today.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. Excellent presentation. Well done. Thank you, everybody. I want to give the community the last word today. Kevin, you represent the community. Congratulations. Anything else you want to add?
That's a big burden, Mr. Mayor.
It is. I really did. I shoveled that one right on you, didn't I?
No, I thought all the presentations were pretty interesting. I'm learning, all the nuances, how things work together, why things are kind of the way they are. But the only thing that really kind of jumped out at me today was when you talked about kind of the Office of Civic Life and Office of Equity and Inclusion and Human Rights, and having those kind of pushed down into the bureaus where they would do more. I think they would do more good because they would be part of those organizations as opposed to somebody from the outside coming in and imposing their will on them. So kind of long-term looking at some sort of reorganization, or at least studying the reorganization of doing it that way, I think would really add some value, because if it becomes part of the bureau's leadership, they would be, reviewed on that, and they would have to respond on that during their annual review. So definitely think that's something worth investigating. So I guess that's the biggest thing I would throw out there now.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. And as always, thank you for your participation. We value it. All right. That completes it. We're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.